Hello, I'm Bill Brown. I teach at Columbia Theological Seminary. I've been teaching the Old Testament for over 20 years at this most blessed institution. And I am deeply honored and delighted that you have chosen my recent book, Sacred Tension, to be your Advent study book. I'm happy to say that my book, Sacred Tension, has been found to be useful by churches and pastors thus far, and I hope this book becomes useful to you during your study of Advent. Which leads me to a confession. I really never had Advent in mind when I wrote this book. There are 9 chapters in the book, and there are, of course, only 4 Sundays in Advent. But with that in mind, I've selected 4 chapters that I think would be of interest to you during this season of Advent. First, there's the introductory chapter, which is for this Sunday, for today, as well as another chapter on creation, a third topic, Torah, or law, and finally, for that 4th Sunday, that last Sunday in Advent, the topic is God. Why? Well, maybe because God does deserve the last word in our study during this time of Advent. So, a few reflections about the book. It was written with church study groups in mind. There are discussion questions featured at the end of every chapter for you to consider. They're only suggestions. And this book is also the first and so far only book I've written in which my spouse played a critical role. You can read about it in the acknowledgments at the end of the book. All to say, this is the first book that is, quote-unquote, Gail approved. She read every draft of every chapter and filled it with question marks and pushbacks, which I very much welcomed, so I would credit her as my editor, and a very critical one at that. But she is as excited about the final product as I am, and I hope you enjoy it. And so, on this first Sunday of Advent, the purple candle of hope is traditionally lit. You might say that this book was written with hope in mind. Hope that we can overcome our polarizing differences to enter into honest and genuine dialogue with each other as we study the Bible together. Now, you don't need me to tell you about how polarized our society has become. We talk about us and them, or we and they. We have lost the art of dialogue in favor of gleefully demonizing those who disagree with us. Hatred and cancel culture have taken the place of mutual respect and empathy. And so to begin with, I offer some sage advice from Morgan Freeman, who said, "Just because I disagree with you does not mean that I hate you. We need to relearn that in our society." This book was written in part to address our deep divisions, including those within our churches, by recognizing that the Bible itself holds together deep divisions without canceling out contrary voices. This is, in fact, what makes the Bible so unique among ancient sacred texts. It features a diversity of voices, even voices that contradict each other. If the Bible were a chorus, you would hear not only soaring harmonies, but also jarring dissonances. The Bible is its own e pluribus unum, out of many, one. And one cannot appreciate the Bible's canonical unity until one appreciates its diversity. All to say, the Bible is not a single book. It is a library, an anthology, sort of like our own book of confessions in the Presbyterian Church. The Bible is a book of traditions, many of them holding diverse perspectives. Now, this shouldn't come as a surprise when you come right down and think about it. The Bible did not come down from heaven on golden plates. The Bible was not dictated to an individual over a short period of time. No, the Bible was written over a very long stretch of time, over a millennium, the product of centuries upon centuries of reflection and discernment and questions and struggle over how God works in the world and is present in community from crisis to crisis. And so it's no surprise that the Bible reflects a variety of perspectives. Here's one I'd like to highlight. I call it a scriptural contradiction. In Proverbs 26, verse 4, we have this sage advice, "Do not answer fools according to their folly, or you will be a fool yourself." But in the very next verse, we have this form of advice, "Answer fools according to their folly, or they will be wise in their own eyes." So what do you do? Do you respond to a fool, or do you walk away? Well, the Bible gives you reasons for doing either course of action. I like how James Baldwin integrates the two when he says, "We can disagree and still love each other unless your disagreement is rooted in my oppression and denial of my humanity and right to exist." In other words, there are valid reasons to walk away from an argument, as well as valid reasons to stay in it. And if it comes to the point of where my humanity is denied by the other, then it's best just to walk away, to not answer any longer. But the beautiful thing is that the Bible gives you both courses of action, both with different reasons to follow this or that course. It is up to you to decide. It is up to you to judge a situation in your context. The Bible says a lot of things about poverty and wealth. And in Proverbs, we have this passage that talks about poverty as the result of laziness. "How long will you lie there, O lazy bones? When will you rise from your sleep? A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest, and poverty will come upon you like a robber, and want like an armed warrior." But just a few chapters later, we read this: "The field of the poor may yield much food, but it is swept away through injustice." So we have two very different assumptions about poverty. Is it the result of laziness, or is it the result of injustice? And the Bible carries both views. And we are asked to judge in our own context, in our own time, about what is more valid. So those are just a sampling. These are just samplings of some of the contrary, diverse views that the Bible holds with regard to debate or with regards to poverty. But there are so many other issues that the Bible addresses through diverse perspectives. So I want to end this first Sunday of Advent with this quote from a former student of mine, which is featured in the book, in which she says about the Bible, "Perhaps a Bible that makes room for tension between divergent perspectives, a Bible that models a brave refusal to delete the voices that disagree, a Bible that is comfortable with leaving questions open and unanswered, a Bible that invites dialogue, a Bible that compels us to take an active role in wrestling with its ideas in our own hearts and in community with other people who interpret it differently than we do." That is precisely the kind of Bible that God intended for us to have. And so may you experience that kind of Bible, the Bible that is open for dialogue, the Bible that invites us to dialogue with the Bible and with each other. That, I think, is the best kind of Bible study. And so I wish you well and enjoyment and delight as you learn more about the Bible and about each other. And if you have particular questions along the way, feel free to email me, and I'm happy to respond, because I'm just honored and delighted that you would be using my book in addition to the Bible, the most important book. Thank you.